There's also AI-based noise suppression in the Teams rooms themselves that provides similar relief to remote users by using AI and machine learning and reference sounds to remove non-human background noises in the room. And so on both sides, I think it's such a nice, it is a different world these days where we're getting so much less of those distracting kind of background noise, chips, dogs, doorbells, just, all of what we were all living with yeah, in the recent past, and we can thank AI for that as well. Matt, I have saved the best one for last, at least before we shift gears from rooms to Copilot and Places. But at Ignite, Microsoft introduced the Facilitator Agent for Microsoft 365 Copilot, and has indicated that the experience is coming to Teams rooms in early 2025. Maybe tell us, what is Facilitator? How does it work outside of the room, and what kind of value and how is it going to work inside the room?
Yeah, no, and I think this is an awesome transition towards some of the Copilot conversations as well. But Facilitator is intended to be looked at like your admin in a meeting. So it's your assistant in a meeting that you invite as another participant, and it joins that Teams meeting just like anybody else would. But it's there to take notes. It's there to keep the meeting on track and keep towards a meeting agenda. So if you've got a meeting agenda in there, it'll make sure that you're on track with your meeting agenda and send chat messages actually saying, hey, you're halfway through your meeting, you've got 5 minutes left, or have you wrapped up? Have you summarized your meeting? Which is helpful. And then the other piece is it is taking live notes. So no longer are you waiting for the meeting recap when the meeting is over to go, oh, what was talked about in the meeting, what happened. You can actually see live as you're talking and discussing the meeting notes being taken one after the other, action items being noted, follow-up items being tagged with the right participants there being tagged as well. So think of it as the live version of the intelligent meeting recap that you've seen already. What this allows you to do, though, is know that the right things were captured. Because my biggest challenge with intelligent meeting recap was knowing, well, is it going to get that note in it, or what's going to be the output when it's over? So you still had to remember the meeting to then know if the summary was right or not. Where now it's happening on the fly. You don't have to think about that anymore, and you know that the right action items were taken and the right notes were there.
Absolutely. And how, I guess, as this experience comes to the room, what can you share around how it's going to work?
Yeah, so there's kind of two different flavors for in the room. So there's the same experience that you're going to see for just Teams meetings on desktop, where you'll be able to see the participant be brought in. You'll be able to see Facilitator add chat messages into the chat, just like you can for any other participant today. We are also going to make available a pane for front row and to replace chat, if you want, of the meeting notes that are being taken by Facilitator. So in a standard Teams meeting, fairly consistent experience to what you get in the desktop app. We are taking it one step further, though, in making the Teams rooms a little more multi-purpose than they are today, and allowing you to also use the Teams room as your AI facilitator and meeting facilitator for an in-person meeting. So if you walked into a conference room, let's say, Ryan, you and I are just walking into a room and we're going to have our one-on-one and we're just going to chat, and we want someone to take notes of that. No longer do you have to stand at the whiteboard and start writing stuff down. You'll be able to just invite Copilot to that in-person meeting and be able to have Facilitator take notes for you while you're sitting there, and it will store them in your OneDrive so that you can go grab them afterwards, go reference them, go do everything just like you would with any other Teams meeting, but just for an all-in-person meeting. And honestly, I thought this was a little silly at first when we started doing this. And I think I said this in a couple of different sessions where I was like, why? You could just take notes on a whiteboard. And then I found myself doing that in an all-in-person meeting. And I went, why am I writing this stuff down when I could just let something else take notes for me? So suddenly I actually really like the idea. And I think it's a lot of value for something that's really simple from a capability perspective. The same QR code flow that we've released already today is just going to have an invite Copilot button. Tap that, and the room kicks into a Copilot mode where you see on the front of room screen active meeting notes being taken. It's a really great user experience and a really simple thing to do.
This is adding so much value to the concept of the room, because I think out of meeting, the room system, today, certainly we share content. There's certain things that we leverage it for, but this is a big one. And just this idea that we're all able to focus these days and worry less about taking notes